recording.
All right, so just got pulled over by the cops. That was fun. Very nice gentleman. Unfortunately, we were speeding. We didn't realize we're doing 50 miles an hour, but we thought we were in a 45, and it ended up being a 30. They thought we were going to run. No, we're not going to run. Not going to risk our lives. We have our families to get to, our businesses to run, and it's just not worth it. I'm going to pull over. I'm going to get the ticket. I'll call my buddy who's a lawyer, and we'll just deal with it. Or I'll pay some fines, and it is what it is. And, most importantly, everybody's safe. We have another great ride home, and no worries. So we can do this again, over and over again. So right now we're paranoid. So it's 55. So we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it civil here. It's a 60 now. There's a cop right there. A lot of cops. A lot of cops. Okay, so what do I think of this bike so far? Okay, first gear, poodling around town, it doesn't like to go slow. It's kind of herky-jerky. The Aprilia is a little bit better than that. A little bit better than that. Which I was surprised. A little bit better. Definitely, this feels more like a race bike than the Aprilia. These pegs where they're at and everything else, very uncomfortable. Very short. How's it ride? Pretty good. Let's get some back and forth motion here. Yeah, it's a little slow. It's a little slow. It's not quick to respond. R1 initially between the legs feels more confidence inspiring immediately for me, and that's my personal take. I'm not saying that this. If you prefer this bike over the R1, and that's your opinion, you go for it. That's why there's different types of bikes, different types of riders, and different frames and things like that. But yeah, the R1 I feel feels better to me. Though this is, once you get it moving here, it's actually quite smooth. It's actually quite smooth, very enjoyable. So, I like it. I like it a lot. The thing about the dash, it's got a temperature reading, but it just says low and high without a number. So, I don't know what it's at about. Ducati TC, the traction control, that's at 2. Wheelie control is at 1. I don't know this bike very well to start toggling through it, but the owner, my buddy Rob, he set it up for the kind of the race mode, but definitely he's got a little traction, a little wheelie. That's cool. I don't know this bike, and I'm not ready to ride it without the electronic aids yet. These mirrors he's got, I can't see anything out of, but he didn't like the factory mirrors. Said they vibrate too much. I know exactly what he's talking about. I've owned Ducatis, many of them, so I can definitely understand that. Heat while moving is not bad, but as soon as we got a few red lights, yeah, it sucked balls. Definitely a lot more vibration than the Aprilia, like through the handlebars. Like, definitely your hands are going to fall asleep faster on this than you would on the Aprilia. I don't know if these have cruise control. The Aprilia does. And I could totally see having cruise control on this bike would make it great. My back is a little bit of an awkward position that I never felt on the Aprilia or the R1 or the GSXR. And again, the GSXR, in my opinion, is a couch. It's the most comfortable super bike you could possibly have. This one's got this weird back scenario. Let's see if I slide my butt back a little bit. It's worse. Okay, so interesting. I'm not comfortable on this bike. I can tell the way that my back is bent in the back part of the back, the kind of mid-lower part of the back. This would be tiring for me. This is not a... So this would not be a good bike for me to actually own. 6-gear pull. Nice. A lot of drama. Yeah, very... Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I got to tell you, I haven't really got on this yet, but I much prefer the V4 on the Aprilia over this. This feels a lot of character from the 1299. The way that it kind of verbulates throughout the whole frame. It's got like this. And I don't mean in a bad way, but kind of more like this rattle can type of scenario where the Aprilia is much smoother. And I you know what? I really prefer that. Let's see what these things do. Okay, this thing's fast as shit. Holy cow. Wow, this thing is... Wow. Holy moly, this thing is fast. Wow. Wow, this thing is fast. Wow. Now, my buddy, besides Rob, I have another buddy who had one of these Panigale 19 base V4s. And we'd race the Aprilia. And I got to tell you, the Aprilia didn't feel as fast as this, but racing it was as fast. So the Aprilia is just smoother, so it takes that feeling of edge away. But wow, this thing's exciting feeling. It's not, I wouldn't say it's much faster than the Aprilia because I've raced it. But it just goes. On-off throttle is a little bit better than the Aprilia. The Aprilia is a little more herky-jerky. This one is a little smoother. Nothing is as smooth as this GSXR throttle, though, in my opinion. But exciting, very exciting bike to ride. Especially when you're on it. Gosh, you feel like you're going a lot faster than you probably are. I mean, you feel like you're a hero on this bike. Wow, the way that puts power down is mind-blowingly scary a little bit. It's very exciting. It's an extremely exciting bike. So that's what you want, you know. It's got that for you. Definitely has that. Very, very surprising. The feel versus the Aprilia in terms of under acceleration. That. Wow. Okay. Well, let me stop carrying on with that. But extremely surprising for me. I didn't think it would feel that much different. So as you can tell, I'm kind of surprised. Okay, so now that I'm riding a little bit longer, I guess my back is used to it now because I'm not feeling that weird, like awkward position any longer. This feels actually a lot better. As far as the pegs to being too high, I don't know if I would say the pegs are too high. I think the ZX10's pegs are way higher than this. I think the R1's pegs are a little bit higher than this. And I think the Aprilia stock pegs are a little bit higher than this as well. Is this guy going to come get me? That's a 60. Well, I'm doing 50. I think I'm okay. I'm all paranoid now. But, yeah. It's a beautiful machine. Build quality is Ducati, of course. Just everything's just really, really nice. And I have to say, you know, riding that the R1, the 2021 R1, I've never seen a Japanese bike with the build quality I would say equivalent to a Ducati or Aprilia. Excuse me, fighting a cold here. I really have to say the R1's build quality is just excellent. It really is. For a Japanese bike, I'm really surprised. Again, now I just rode this one. Do I want to buy this one over the R1? No. I think I would prefer the R1 over this. Yes, this is very nice. This is very exotic. But I have the Aprilia, and the Aprilia is very nice and very exotic. The Aprilia is more refined in ways that this is not. This is more raw, and that's really cool. If that's what we really want to have in a motorcycle, this is your bike. It's a beautiful bike. Don't get me wrong. It's wonderful. Maybe I'm kind of Ducati'd out having so many of them already. I want to try something different. And again, the R1 is attracted to me right now because of its build quality and the way it rides, and that gearbox is excellent. This gearbox is tighter than the Aprilia, I would say. This gearbox is not as tight as the R1 right there. The quick shifter is nice. It's slower than the quick shifter on the Aprilia. It's slower than the quick shifter on Gixxer and on the R1. And the thing about the ZX10 I rode, it had a tune on it, and the quick shifter was tuned, so it was very, very fast. So I haven't ridden, or I probably have, but I just don't remember. Just thinking about it, haven't ridden a ZX10 stock quick shifter to say, hey, this is faster or slower. I've only ridden one that's been tuned and modified. This thing's got shorty levers. I don't like shorty levers. I like to have the whole lever simply because I like to move my hand around, and I want to have as much real estate in terms of lever as possible so I can always grab it. Because with the shorty lever, you end up being able to keep your hand only in one position. Okay, so first gear is worse around town than the Aprilia. Second gear is better on this bike around town than the Aprilia. It's much smoother. So first and second, first gear is really bad on this bike around town, slow speed stuff. The Aprilia is a little bit better, but second gear is much better around town than the Aprilia. Very interesting. Yeah, second gear is very smooth. I mean, it makes clackety-clackety noise from the Desmotronic valves, but very similar. I would say very similar. The second gear is like very similar to, like, I don't know. I really can't compare it to. I would just say it's just better than the Aprilia. It's still got some of that V4 character as the Aprilia, but it's definitely better around town second gear, which that's great because that's more usability in town because you're not in first gear much after you start moving, just to putz around town. So second gear is very useful. I got to tell you, when I got the Aprilia, I felt automatically gearing was way too tall. This bike, the gearing feels fine. It doesn't feel too tall. I mean, I know it's tall because how long it takes to accelerate in a gear, but it's not bad. It's not horrible. I still can't get over this high-low temperature gauge without a number. I feel like I'm getting gypped here. Yeah, second gear is super smooth. I'm starting to feel the heat, even at third gear, 50 miles an hour. Then it goes away pretty quickly. And it tracks. Let's see here. Let's get down to like. Oh yeah, chug. Okay. Yeah, the Aprilia doesn't chug like that. Just doesn't chug like that. Brakes are killer. The brakes feel exactly like the Aprilia did when they were stock pads. The stock pads on the Aprilia were really aggressive. I actually went to a softer pad, the EBCHH or ECS, I don't know, whatever. The double H street pad, just for street.